Policy for me is appreciating the real intensity of need of communities in a language in which they can say it. And India, I think we have a competency framework today where we have thought about all this and we built a framework which is not just contemporary, it is tech ready, it is future looking, but it's also built on traditional Indian wisdom. We have more than 3 million to 30 million people, huge numbers. You can't really think of imagining creating hyper-local solutions for them. But today we can because technology does it.
A very warm welcome to Policy Talks, a policy discussion by the Bharti Institute of Public Policy, where we get eminent experts in a series to talk about different aspects of public policy. And today it's our privilege to host the very eminent Dr. R. Balasubramaniam for this first episode of the season 4 of Policy Talks. Very warm welcome, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
Dr. Balu is a developmental policy practitioner, an author, someone who's dedicated his lives at the grassroots and has worked for more than 4 decades in policy space, from the grassroots till the national level policy making. So with that, my first question to you is regarding your experience at the grassroots and then till the national policy making, and how do you think about state capacity from your experiences?
See, at the grassroots, the biggest challenge is when you see yourself as a policymaker or a program implementer in the state, you endow yourself with a sense of power. And the sense of power makes you hierarchically superior or higher placed than the people that you're working with. And traditionally, only now with the Honorable Prime Minister's call of Jan Bhagidari, things are changing. But traditionally, governance and policy making was seen more as the citizens are beneficiaries. I'm the provider and the citizens are recipients. So when you have that kind of a power relationship, the expectation is I know what you need, I know what you should be getting, and therefore you should take what I give you. I think today the pendulum has swung the other side where the PM says we should listen and understand what communities need, people need, and the scheme should grow out of that listening. So I think policy for me is appreciating the real intensity of need of communities in a language in which they can say it, ability to translate it in a language which the policymaker can understand it, and then designing a program that is practical and implementable at the ground level. So I think macro and micro bridging is not easy, but the good news is the government of India is very genuinely attempting to make that happen. And today we have the tools. Technology is such a leveler. We can create simulations, learning material, we can create experience sharing, we can create discussion hubs in which people can put in this stuff together and we all learn from each other. So technology today is a great advantage to democratize this experience of the grassroots and bring it to the attention of people at the top.
You have led a number of institutions where you had your own institutions established at the grassroots and now heading the Capacity Building Commission in a very senior capacity. And right now we all know the role of institutions, over time. And we're also talking about reimagining some of these institutions. How do you place state capacity in terms of rethinking or reimagining these institutions, and what has to be done practically for the same?
I see it in a very simple framework. I would call it the 3 W's. The first W is states need to understand that today the environment is complex. The aspirations of citizens, communities have altered dramatically. It's not like 1947 when poverty was real, the challenges were real. So state had to be a provider. So the entire state capacity was driven to provide. I had to make sure my food distribution was okay. I had to make sure that I run the airports. I make the bread. I still remember there was a bread called modern bread those days. Government made it. I have to run the from ports to airports to railways to buses. Public transport had to be run by the state. Banks had to be run by the state. Providing was the norm because that's how the situation was. State's capacity and how well it could provide was important. Now look at the state today. The last decade, the state is in a space of thinking of partnerships. The call given by the PM is always Samaj Sarkar Bazaar Saath mein chalna padega. Yeah. So the state has to see its capacity not in terms of how well I deliver goods and services. That's important. But Do I plan to deliver these goods and services in consultation with communities, understand from them, learn from them, talk to them? So it's a journey. And if collaborative skills are more important today than controlling skills, now that's a different kind of capacity we need to build. So it's evolved enormously. And India, I think, we have a competency framework today where we have thought about all this and we built a framework which is not just contemporary, it is tech ready, it is future looking, but it's also built on traditional Indian wisdom. So it's based on the civilizational knowledge that India has got in public administration, etc. We have validated it. Or it took us 16 to 18 months to validate it, and today it's the Karmayogi competency framework is driven by that.
Right. And my next question to you is regarding the same, because, it was a mammoth task, thinking about millions of civil servants across hierarchies. And how do you think about competency framework that kind of caters to all of them with specialized services, generalists in the system? And I think government of India, or even any government for that matter, across the globe, has been struggling to kind of have it defined. How did you take that up, and how was all of them that kind of comprehended together?
There's several things to mission Karma Yogi. Most people reduce it to just a very minimalistic oversight of training in our country. Training is not capacity building. Capacity building is much more broader and wider, as you know. Or which policies, everything is included in it. So we first start ask ourselves, and my own personal learning journey was I was shadowing every level of government officer. Being an outsider to government was a big advantage for me because I had the humility to recognize I didn't know.
Yeah.
So I was not an insider, so I could not pretend to know anything. So I just went around right from the lowest level of government servant to the cabinet secretary. I could shadow them, understand what they do, then realize what is common. What works for everybody? What does everybody need? So we looked at the building the competency around what the government of India decided as part of Mission Karmayogi was to move away from a rule-based HR to a role-based HR. There are only three roles a government servant performs. Either your operational level, if you're an Anganwadi worker, you're very operational, or your tactical level, or your strategic. So but levels are different. So you build competencies for roles. So that's the first mandate we put on ourselves. The second thing is we realize that we cannot decide on specializations on domain competencies because we are not the domain experts. An agriculture expert would be an agriculture domain expert. A health expert could be a health expert. Like with my background of medicine and public health, I can say I can understand health competencies, but I can't say the same thing about defense sector or the finance sector. Right? They're different set of competencies. So we said we will focus on two other sets of competencies: the behavioral and functional, which are common. The width and the depth of these competencies may alter based on your role. So when we put a sort of a matrix and said behavioral for an operational level, behavioral for a tactical level, behavioral for a strategic level, which will be including these two, right? Similarly, we said what are the functional competencies you need. Now, if you're a joint secretary in Ministry of Agriculture, you will still are a joint secretary. You can be a joint secretary in Ministry of Defense, you still do the same things. So the functional competencies you need to be joint secretary anywhere is the same.
At an hierarchy.
Right? But you might have different domain needs. So we didn't touch that. So we broke down the framework into a set of simplistic things. We said every civil servant, when he joins government of India, we get some of the brightest in this country to join the government, right?
True.
So we said you have to only make 4 pledges. First pledge we said is Vikas, development. So we defined what does development mean. The next pledge we said you have to take is we said you have to be proud of being a government servant. The culture should be created. You should be proud of delivering the service you're doing. So we said Garv. Third, we said very important for us is we said you have to understand that in our country today, it's no longer a rights-based thinking. It is kartavya. It's a responsibility-based approach. What am I, as a civil servant, responsible for? So we said kartavya. And the fourth sankalp is ekta. We are one nation. So we said we want these 4 deliverable pledges. You can call them outcomes. For that, we said each of us as a work person should have 4 virtues. 4 char guna bolte hain usko. First guna was we said was swadhyay. Understand yourself. Why am I here? Why am I joining government? So all the behavioral set of skills you need. Why am I an Anganwadi worker? Why am I the cabinet secretary of India? What is this role about? So you ask those. We enable them to ask those questions.
Difficult questions.
So we teach them to learn all the time. So swadhyay is the first gun. Second is sahakaryata. If participatory governance and collaborative work is mattering, then you understand not control but collaboration. So we said sahakaryata. Third, we said is very, very important. You'll look at efficiency and effectiveness of the state. So we said Raja Karma, learn the functional competencies. And fourth is Swadharma. If today the call of the Prime Minister is Nagarik Devo Bhava, your dharma is to serve citizens. So we said you have these four gunas. Each of these guna is a package of behavioral functional competencies based on which domain you're posted to, that additional domain competency that acquire. So we have thought through a very detailed framework, defined everything. It's measurable, it's scalable, it's demonstrable, and every course is tagged to that.
Sir, we're talking of technology, and AI and data have played a very important role when it comes to a platform like Mission Karmyogi. Can you just highlight how AI is being, used for the platform, and how? Because I know I've seen a lot of discussion even during the recent AI summit where we were talking about AI enabling the capacity building ecosystem of the country. So if you could just highlight a bit on it.
No, it's changed a lot. It's made things easier, faster, better. To just give an example, when we started 5 years ago, we would have to go department by department, ministry by ministry, commission consultants, map out all the jobs that everybody does, look at the kind of skills they have, do a self assessment. At that time, we didn't have proctored assessment. And finally, arrive at a capacity building plan, map the deficits, and say, for you're doing your job today, you need to have these competencies. Today, AI can do it in 5 minutes or 5 seconds. You just put all the reports, all the job descriptions, the business rules of the organization, the annual performance plans, everything, and just put the number of people that is there. It will give them all the proper. In 5 minutes, it's done, and no expenditure at all.
I agree. Yeah.
Similarly, today we are even thinking of situations in learning. We have a lot of platforms offering that, and soon we'll also be offering it where I have a problem. I come and ask the problem to the in the portal. That AI will search across all the library of courses I have, discussions people would have made, material information that is there. It will go through a repository of information that is there, the case studies that we have built, and then repackage a course for me of 15 minutes. We were talking earlier also, nobody's got attention spans of more than 10 to 15 minutes. It will package a solution for me for what I need. So we are moving at a record pace. Things that we thought will take us 10 years to do, we are doing it in 10, 15 days now. And we have got nearly put all the civil servants together, public sector banks, public sector undertakings, state governments, etc. We have more than 3 million, 30 million people, huge numbers. You can't really think of imagining creating hyper-local solutions for them. But today we can because technology does it.
My last question to you is regarding your message. If you have to give a message to the civil servants or the policy enablers in this country, what would that be? And how can they actually make the best possible use of a platform like the Karam Yogi Bharat?
What I would say would be very traditional. What Swami Vivekananda said more than 120 years ago. He said, if you really want to make a difference in the world today, if you really want to serve, you only need three things. He said, 3H, he said. He said, the heart to feel. So go out, go to the community, soak your hand in the mud, feel for our people who needs our interventions, who needs our partnerships, who needs you to work with them, not for them. The head to think, Vivekananda said, strategize. What are the problems today? What are the challenges? Policy problems are wicked. This is the time for us to start strategizing and thinking how 2047 should look. We have a goal, we have a target given to us. How do we get there? Last is the hands to work. We have to do the work ourselves. We Indians have to build this country. So I think if we can learn very simply from Swamiji's message, I think that's the greatest thing that a civil servant can do for this country.
Thank you so much, sir, for that enlightening discussion and the message.
Thank you for having me here, Aarushi.
No, it's a pleasure to have you at the Policy Talks. Thank you.
Thank you.